There are, of course, negative stories as well. I suppose this part of the conversation can be a little bit about the negatives of social media, or the potential negatives, and how to process and deal with those things. And also how to look after ourselves in a world where everything that we've ever wanted is on our phone screen.
Edited perfectly.
Yeah. I don't know if one of you guys have got an anecdote or something for that.
I'd say I can sort of link it to my journey with body confidence on social media, because as someone who's had a couple of health dramas, and I've got a couple of scars. I've got one on my head and I've got a big one down my tummy. And I had a really interesting kind of moment, sort of crystallizing moment with social media, when I had an appointment with my GP not long after I'd got this scar. And she looked at my tummy and she said, "Oof, you're going to want to wear tankinis from now on." And this is GP, like a middle-aged woman kind of saying this to me. And I went, "Oh, really?" And got, quite upset about it, obviously, because it was quite a blasé comment and she'd probably forgotten about it by the end of the day.
And you were how old as well?
I was, how old would I have been? Maths, 26?
Yeah.
23? No, 20.
Younger?
Yeah,
surely.
Younger than that. I think I was like 24, 25, thereabouts. So yeah, 24.
Still growing
maths,
and finding your confidence.
Still kind of growing. And then, but what was amazing, because it could easily have gone the other way, but what was amazing for me was, as I left the GP surgery, I had my mum with me, kind of propping me up, because I was still quite poorly. And I said, "Why did she feel the need to say that? Where did that come from? That's obviously maybe something she's learned along the way. But it doesn't have to be like that, does it?" And then I kind of started looking into social media and kind of online platforms, and looking at all the different kinds of people and kind of finding different projects, photographing people with visible differences, and and talking about chronic illnesses and stuff like that. And that was a really positive experience for me. But then when I started kind of coming out, I got some confidence in myself, because I realised after a while, well, I'm someone who can have a positive influence on people. If people see, that I've got a big old scar on my head and a big gnarly one down my tummy, maybe they'll start to kind of think, "Oh, okay, everyone's got something," and I got involved with a project called Behind the Scars, which was a free project. My brilliant photographer friend was taking pictures. You can find it on social media still. And she was taking pictures of people with scars and trying to normalise the fact that people have scars. Something like 75% of people, something like that, have, something like that. And so I started posting pictures in my underwear. I started doing that, then sort of accidentally led to doing kind of modelling campaigns, doing advertising for kind of underwear companies, things like that. And obviously there was an outpouring of love and loads of people saying, "Oh my goodness, you look just like me," which was my aim. I really wanted to be, it wasn't really a vanity project, it was me going, I want more people to see what you can look like and how it's not all perfect. And what are imperfections really. That
it was
whole
very,
thing.
to say, it was very everyday as well, wasn't it? It wasn't you
Yeah.
floating around in like red lace.
No.
It wasn't
Like particularly saucy, I'll say that. It was like the occasional one, like there would be, a really lovely underwear brand would send me some very pretty underwear and I'd wear it, and that would be very cute. And, but it was also me, especially during lockdown, I would dance around. I had to isolate because of my health conditions. And I think I went a bit mad and I started dancing in my living room, live streaming every morning at 10 o'clock. And that got me through 9 weeks alone in my flat, having that kind of community platform and talking to people. Again, this is a really positive thing. But obviously for all the positive stuff, there will always be a few people who sneak into comments or repost or whatever and criticize you and say, put it away, why don't you cover that up? What's, your this, that and the other, like using quite horrible kind of terms. And my way of coping with that, I think, as I learned from some of my friends in kind of the things like the body positivity movement, like Megan Jane Crabb, Michelle Elman, Chidera Egeru, aka the Slumflower, they all kind of just reply to comments in the nicest way possible. Just kind of go, "Hey, I hope you're okay. I hope you find peace. I'm sorry you feel the need to say this kind of thing." Just wishing everyone well and being all lovely and wholesome rather than starting an argument. That was something that I kind of found a bit of peace and confidence with. So that's how I would deal with negativity on social media, I tend to reply, or I just ignore it completely, because sometimes the worst thing you can do is reply and give them room to come back at you, you know? I don't know, what about you two?
Well, you've had, by the sounds of it, much worse negativity coming back from your social media.
At the kind of the middle of last year, I decided that I would start a kind of secret TikTok page where I make comments on politics and kind of stitch videos of politicians and people that are talking about political things and kind of make my comment on it. And I was so overwhelmed by, first of all, the amount of views that gained me without me even trying to actually get views. But I would post videos and they would have like 500 likes, but 1,500 comments. And I've never seen that ever before. And it would be people commenting, first of all, kind of really horrible things about me, my appearance, what they perceived my sexuality to be, what they perceived everything about me. But people would just start arguments with each other on there. So I'd be saying how I felt about something politically, and then somebody would make a really horrible statement about me, and sometimes those comments, you know, when you see like the kind
another
of
thread.
The thread would be kind of 50, 60 comments long of this group of people kind of attacking the way that I looked or the way that I spoke or something like that.
All these little wormholes.
Comments. Just
That's
these
awful.
little things coming up, and you know, some people would be like, oh yeah, cool, really agree with you, whatever, but I'd say we're looking at probably 5% of the comments would be in support of what I was saying. And, you know, not to my defence, the content I was making is kind of inflammatory, and it's not, I am looking for some kind of reaction by doing it, but I was so overwhelmed by the kind of vastness of the amount of abuse that could come towards just one person making a 5-second video. And I suppose the way, I don't know how you guys deal with kind of negative things on social media, but the way that I had to process that was literally logging out of the account so that I couldn't see it on my phone, and just putting it out of my brain for like a week. And then once I'd had that time to think, right, okay, cool, I'm gonna, or you know, in my case it was when something funny had happened politically in the crazy landscape that we live in at the moment, that I thought, oh, it would be really good for me to make a video about that. I would go back to it, and that's how I kind of cope with it. But as we stand here right now, I've not made any videos on that account for about a month and a half. So obviously the last time was quite intense.
How do you take that personally? How do you sort of, you know, when it happens and you see those comments going up and up and up, and of course, like the more activity there is on a comment, Instagram, Facebook, they push it to the top, like top comments. And I mean, how do you read that and then sleep at night? You know, how do you manage to try and put that at the brain? Because it can't help but feel like it's a personal attack, right?
No, definitely, especially when, you know, something that I found really interesting is that people that obviously hated the content I was making and vastly disagreed with me, would comment on everything that I posted. Every single thing.
So not just the subject they didn't agree with.
No, within minutes,
they'd pick up things
they'd be
that
saying,
they could use.
You look like this, you look like that, blah, 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 blah. And I think I was able to, it took me a while, but I was able to realise that that's actually their problem. If they're coming to me with at that pace every single time, then that's something that they can deal with. But the comments that would come up that would bring up things of, you know, ways that I was, you know, I'm not a small chap, and I was definitely bullied when I was at school and at college and at uni and stuff. And yeah, at times it was, I just had to log it out and go, right, I'm going to do something else now. Normally I'd just go for a walk. I'd just leave the house and I'd leave my phone at home and I'd go, that's it, I can't look at that anymore, because otherwise it's just going to...
And that takes a lot of willpower. I'm going to imagine that it takes even more willpower for you guys to put your phones down, because it's so ingrained in your generation. It's not a bad thing at all, it's just we know it, we remember it before all of this, and you're growing up with it as completely and utterly part of your lives, and there's no getting away from that, you know. So the confidence and willpower it takes to put that down, because it does stuff to your brain, you know, it releases endorphins when you get a like or a comment or whatever. It's an addictive thing. So to be able to put that down is hard enough, let alone then get any of these negative comments that you've read out of your brain and try and not take it personally. So it's hard to do, it's hard to put yourself in a safe space for your, you know, for your own good. So I think you really, really have to really like dig deep for that willpower to be able to put that phone down and take the space out.
Definitely.
But, you know, the outcomes are obviously sort of outweigh, you know, that painful moment to put your phone down and log out, you know.
The thing that I did immediately was I turned off notifications
Oh,
on
yeah.
my phone for like literally every piece of social media I had. And then I looked at it when I wanted to look at it instead of being told to look at it on my phone every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I turn the, now they've got that on Instagram, turn off your likes.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't, you can't judge yourself by that little number under a picture.
Yeah.
How many likes, how many comments. Because if you don't, like you said, I only got 500 likes on that one. Or you've said it to me before, I think. It's like, I did this video that really felt important to me and I was really, really into the subject matter. But I only got, like 200 likes. And then I put a picture up of my cat and I got 1,000 likes or something.
So true.
You know.
When the family cat passed away last year, that got the most likes of any post I put up last year, which actually was lovely because it's really wholesome.
It's a nice
it goes to
thing,
people are wishing you well. But yeah, when it's something that you've worked hard on and it's just not resonating with people. But I was also thinking, like, it's easy to say, obviously before social media, it would be things like, oh, people can give you like 4 compliments and then 1 insult, and you'll remember the insult and you're more likely to remember that, and that would just be in your brain maybe from a conversation or maybe from something kind of written down or like, back then. But now you've got constant access to kind of positive and negative comments, and it's really hard to switch. It's harder than ever to switch that off.